On February 19, 2013, a chilling silence echoed through the corridors of the stay on Main Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. The body of Elisa Lam, a Canadian student, was discovered in a large cistern atop the building. She had been last seen alive just weeks earlier, her final moments recorded by security cameras showing erratic behavior that now haunted every viewer who watched them. The footage, released to the public on February 13, depicted Lam stepping into an elevator at around noon on January 31, only to emerge minutes later in a daze. Her movements were jerky and disoriented. She seemed lost, almost as if something unseen was pulling her down. The video was shared widely online, but it wasn't until the body was found that the world truly grasped the gravity of what had occurred. Lam's disappearance had initially puzzled investigators. For 9 days, there was no trace of her. Her parents reported her missing on February 8, and it would take another week for her to be recovered from the cistern. The manner of her death remained unclear until an autopsy revealed she had been unmedicated at the time of her disappearance. The coroner's office ruled her death an accident, citing bipolar disorder as a significant contributing factor. Guests at the stay on Main Hotel filed lawsuits against the establishment, alleging negligence in failing to ensure Lam's safety. Her parents also pursued legal action, but were ultimately unsuccessful. The case gained further notoriety when comparisons were drawn between it and the 2005 horror film Dark Water, leading some to speculate about a possible connection. In the months that followed, Lam's story continued to capture public imagination. Her blog, Ether Fields, which chronicled her struggles with mental illness and her life in Canada, was revisited by those seeking answers or solace. The tragedy of Elisa Lam remains a haunting reminder of the unpredictable nature of mental health and the chilling potential for isolated spaces to become prisons of the mind. Los Angeles, 2013, was a city of sprawling contradictions. As the sun set over the concrete canyons of downtown, the glittering lights of Hollywood beckoned to the hopeful and the lost alike. Elisa Lam, a young woman from Hong Kong, had come seeking her dreams, or so it seemed. She had enrolled as a student at the University of British Columbia, but was not officially registered for the start of 2013. Her online presence hinted at a life filled with fashion and introspection. On her blog Ether Fields, she shared pictures of models in stylish outfits and wrote about her battles with mental illness. In mid 2010, Lam began to document her journey through life and struggle with bipolar disorder. Her posts were candid and raw, reflecting the deep-seated fears and hopes that often accompany such diagnoses. In January 2012, she announced a shift to a new blog on Tumblr called Nouvelle Nouveau. The content was more focused on fashion, but her epigraph remained unchanged, a poignant quote from Chuck Palahniuk. "You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life." Lam's mental health journey had been marked by prescribed medications and hospitalizations due to hallucinations. She was known for not always adhering to her treatment regimen, leading to periods of intense distress that she would often hide from others. Her family kept her condition private, but were aware of the challenges she faced. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, Lam had traveled alone across North America by train and bus. She visited landmarks like the San Diego Zoo before making her way to Los Angeles. On January 26th, she checked into the Cecil Hotel in Skid Row, a neighborhood known for its stark contrasts of wealth and poverty. After 2 days, she was moved to a single room at the stay on Main Hotel, where the echoes of her final moments would resound with haunting clarity. The city that had once seemed full of promise now held secrets of its own. As the story unfolded, Los Angeles became both a backdrop and an actor in the drama of Elisa Lam's last days. On February 19, 2013, a chilling silence echoed through the corridors of the stay on Main Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. The night had been uneventful until the early morning hours when a maintenance worker discovered Elisa Lam's lifeless body in an abandoned cistern atop the building. Her presence there had been marked by days of growing unease among guests and staff. The story began 2 weeks earlier, on January 31, 2013, when Elisa Lam last checked into her room at the stay on Main. The hotel was a modern structure with sleek design elements, perched high above the bustling streets below. Lam, a 25-year-old student from Hong Kong studying in Vancouver, had traveled to Los Angeles alone for an unspecified purpose. She checked into the Cecil Hotel before moving to the stay on Main after complaints about her roommates. On February 8, Lam's parents became concerned when she failed to contact them as scheduled and reported her missing. The hotel staff, unaware of her family's concerns, had not noticed any unusual behavior from their guest until it was too late. Interest in Elisa's disappearance surged on February 13 with the release of security camera footage by the Los Angeles Police Department. The video showed Lam entering an elevator on January 31 and behaving erratically within its confines. Her actions were captured in grainy detail, adding to the mystery surrounding her last moments. The subsequent investigation was thorough, but yielded few concrete answers. An autopsy performed on February 21 revealed no signs of foul play or external injuries. The coroner's office ruled her death an accident, attributing it largely to bipolar disorder and the fact that Lam had not been taking her medication as prescribed. Blood analysis confirmed she was not medicated at the time of her death. As the weeks passed, guests at the stay on Main began to file lawsuits against the hotel for its failure to provide adequate security measures. Lam's parents also initiated a legal action, which was dismissed in 2015. The case left many questions unanswered and sparked discussions about mental health management and the safety of public spaces. The eerie nature of Elisa Lam's last moments, combined with the apparent neglect by hotel staff, fueled theories and speculations. Some noted striking similarities between her death and scenes from the 2005 horror film Dark Water, further adding to the intrigue. In the aftermath, Elisa Lam's story continued to captivate audiences around the world, becoming a subject of both artistic expression and ongoing investigation. Her journey from a vibrant student with struggles to an enigmatic figure who vanished without a trace remains a haunting chapter in true crime history. On February 19, 2013, a chilling silence echoed through the corridors of the stay on Main Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. For days, Elisa Lam had been missing, her last known location the fifth-floor room she shared with roommates at the Cecil Hotel. The night before her body was found, security camera footage revealed a disturbing image: Lam entering and exiting an elevator on January 31, appearing disoriented or perhaps terrified. The Los Angeles Police Department quickly responded to the case, releasing the controversial footage to the public. As the investigation progressed, authorities recovered evidence from the stay on Main Hotel's cistern, where Lam's body was discovered. The cistern, a large open space above the hotel's fifth floor, had been flooded, and water pressure had dropped just before her death. Initial reports suggested that Lam may have slipped and fallen into the cistern. However, the presence of bloodstains on the staircase leading to the cistern raised questions about the nature of her fall. The coroner's office determined that Lam's death was accidental, but noted bipolar disorder as a significant contributing factor. The hotel's management came under scrutiny for their handling of Lam's case. According to witnesses, Lam had left notes for her roommates, suggesting she felt trapped or unsafe. Management acknowledged odd behavior from Lam and moved her to a single room, which may have been seen as inadequate given the circumstances. Several key suspects emerged in the early stages of the investigation, including former guests who had interactions with Lam at the Cecil Hotel. However, these leads did not pan out, and no concrete evidence linked any individual directly to the case. The lack of a conclusive motive and the absence of clear criminal intent led investigators to conclude that Lam's death was an accident. The case garnered international attention, leading some to draw parallels between it and the 2005 horror film Dark Water. This sparked debate about whether Hollywood's portrayal of missing persons cases influenced public perception. Despite extensive investigations and media scrutiny, no breakthroughs emerged, leaving many unanswered questions about Elisa Lam's last hours. In a broader context, critics pointed to institutional failures within the hotel industry and law enforcement. The lack of effective communication between departments and the absence of clear protocols for dealing with mental health crises in hotels highlighted systemic issues that may have contributed to the tragic outcome. Theories about Elisa Lam's death have swirled like mist over downtown Los Angeles. Some suggest she fell victim to a tragic accident, exacerbated by her untreated bipolar disorder and medication noncompliance. Her parents maintained that this explanation was overly simplistic. They believed their daughter had been the victim of foul play or supernatural forces, referencing eerie similarities between Lam's death and the 2005 horror film Dark Water. Others pointed to her history of mental health issues and documented episodes of hallucinations. In her blog posts, she had admitted to suffering from periods where she hid under her bed due to auditory and visual hallucinations. This history led some to speculate that Lam may have experienced a severe manic episode or psychotic break during her stay at the hotel. The hotel itself was a focal point for many theories. The stay on Maine's history of complaints about strange noises, shadows, and unexplained incidents added to its reputation as an eerie place. Some guests reported hearing Lam screaming in the cistern where her body was found. However, no direct evidence linked these claims to foul play. The most compelling theory involves a sinister presence or entity that manipulated Lam's actions leading up to her death. This idea drew parallels between her blog posts and the narrative of Dark Water, which features a mysterious figure in the bathwater of an apartment building. Critics argued that such a scenario could explain why Lam was found in the cistern and why she had left behind few clues. Despite these theories, no definitive evidence emerged to support any one explanation. The hotel's management maintained its innocence, citing security footage that showed Lam exiting the elevator alone without incident. Forensic experts concluded her death was accidental, with bipolar disorder being a significant contributing factor due to the lack of medication she had been taking. The contradictions remain. How could someone so ill have seemingly left the hotel unharmed? Why were no clear signs of struggle found on her body? And what forces compelled Lam into the cistern? These questions continue to haunt the case, leaving Elisa Lam's death as one of the most enigmatic and unsettling mysteries in recent crime history. On February 19, 2013, a chilling silence echoed through the corridors of the stay on Main Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Elisa Lam's body was discovered in a cistern atop the building, her disappearance having captivated public attention since January 31. The case has remained open, with occasional updates and investigations. In recent years, cold case units have occasionally revisited the file, but no significant new developments have emerged. DNA testing of evidence from the scene continues to be inconclusive, providing little in the way of definitive answers. The hotel, Stay on Main, underwent renovations that obscured much of the original structure where Lam was last seen, further complicating any potential physical evidence recovery. Lam's mental health history and her struggle with bipolar disorder have remained central to the case. While an autopsy ruled her death as accidental, with bipolar disorder as a significant factor, many questions remain unanswered. Lam's blog entries, particularly those from 2012, continue to be analyzed for clues, but no smoking gun has surfaced. The legal proceedings related to the incident concluded in 2015, with Lam's parents losing their lawsuit against the hotel. Despite numerous theories and speculations over the years, including some that drew parallels between her death and the film Dark Water, the true circumstances surrounding Elisa Lam's demise remain permanently unknown. The case of Elisa Lam has left an indelible mark on popular culture and continues to be referenced in discussions about mental health, privacy, and the perils of urban exploration. It serves as a stark reminder of the complexities surrounding disappearances, particularly those involving individuals with mental illnesses. Despite extensive investigations and media scrutiny, one question remains. What truly happened that night in the hotel's cistern? The mystery lingers, unresolved and haunting, much like the eerie silence Lam left behind. If this case gripped you, there are dozens more waiting in the criminal archive. Every week, we uncover new stories that history tried to forget. Subscribe now and never miss a case. The truth is out there, and we will find it together.